We're celebrating the new CIRITH UNGOL album, Dark Parade, with Robert Garven. And I know there was a good break, almost 25 years away. And of course, you came back in 2020 with Forever Black and now Dark Parade. On those years off, what was the feeling, and why was it after that length too much to deny, and you came back from that hiatus?
Well, when the band broke up, uh, Flynn had left the band. Uh, the two guys that we brought in to record the album left the band, and we had a bass player, Vern, for a while. He left the band. Jimmy left the band, and so it was me and Tim were sitting there in the band room, just going, we don't wear makeup. We aren't playing this. We aren't playing thrashy music. What should we do? And we just decided, hey, we had a good run. We put out some really good music. Let's just I always say, like, Cthulhu. I'm a big HP Lovecraft guy. Cthulhu sinks down beneath the surface, waiting for the stars to align so he can rise up again and create havoc in the world. And that's kind of what we did. But during that time, I was approached by numerous people. Hey, we want your band to play. I'm like, no. We want you guys to get back together. No. And I swore a blood oath that I would never touch another drumstick as long as I lived, which kind of came back to haunt me. But 2015, a local musician here, Jarvis, plays in a band, Night Demon. He'd been touring around in Europe, and he said a lot of people, hey, they were in CIRITH UNGOL shirts, and they asked me about your band because we're from the same town. And he goes, I think you guys should get back together. And I said, no, it's never going to happen. We're old men. What are we doing? Why would we even think about that, right? And he goes, I'm going to put on a festival here in town. And he goes, I'm going to invite a bunch of bands from all over the world. And he goes, I want you guys to do a signing session. And we said, oh, sure, that we'll do that, right? That sounds reasonable. And so we did that. And just people came from all over, and we sat there for, a long time, just signing autographs, photographs, people even making up their own pictures of the band and us signing them. And it was really extraordinary. And Jarvis goes like this. He goes, look, I know you guys said no, but if you guys try to get back together, you guys can headline my show next year. And there was a gentleman there, Oliver, who puts on books of shows for the festival Keep It True in Germany. And he goes, and if you guys get back together, you guys can headline my festival too. And kind of a side note, Oliver had contacted me for the last 10 years, asking me to get back together, get the band back together. And I said, no, right? So anyway, between Jarvis putting on this show and a signing thing, and Oliver offering us to come out and play, that we kind of said, well, hey, look, we're getting older. If we're going to do this, let's do this now. Our only, I think at the time, the only thing we were thinking about is maybe playing a handful of shows, and that was going to be it. But it kind of started rolling downhill like a snowball, picking up snow. And we played a couple of shows. We played a couple of big shows, and crowds were pretty responsive, and people came out and saw us. And we said, hey, let's keep this up for a while. And like any other musicians, we started writing music almost as soon as we got a band room. So we released a single for a movie, Witch's Game, which is still Witch's Game is the song, but the movie's called The Planet of Doom, and it's still in the works. It got kind of sidelined by the pandemic, but we had good response for that. So we said, let's do a studio album. That's how Forever Black came about. And then the pandemic hit about the same day that was released. So that took around 3 years out of kind of the steam for the band. But, we started working on new material, put out an EP, Half Past Human, which was a bunch of our older stuff we re-recorded. And then as soon as that was out, we went in the studio and recorded Dark Parade. And the rest is history.
Well, yeah, it's amazing how the underground swell has grown, and it's so authentic because it's by the people for the people. And I know you've announced today that 2024 will be your final year of performing live, and we understand it's hard enough to write these songs and record new music and promote them, but to go out at your age and getting older, I know you want to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, if you want to come see us in the next year. What prompted that announcement?
Well, Jimmy recently left the band, and he was been in our guitarist. He wasn't our original guitarist, but he was a guitarist from Paradise Lost. And he left the band. We got back together. He started playing with us. That was one of the considerations. But also, too, I think, um, we wanted to go out kind of on top. And we think DarkParade is a really strong album. Matter of fact, few reviews I've read, agree with us and think it's better than our last album, Forever Black, which is a pretty strong album in itself. And so I think what we were thinking of is, hey, you know what? Before we kind of get so old that we're on stage, kind of like a parody band or something, let's go out on top, or at least as close to the top as we feel we're at. And I think, some of us, we have other things in our lives going on. So it's not like we're not going to be doing stuff. But I think this was a good choice of us. And I think also too, I think a bunch of promoters are going to say, hey man, if this is the last year the band's playing, let's book them at some shows. And we're hoping a lot of people come out to see us, and we will not disappoint if you come out and see the band, because we're as strong as we ever were. We're playing a wide variety of all the best stuff off all of our albums. And I think my joke is, you may be dissatisfied with us, but you will not be disappointed.
Well, Robert, we congratulations on your tenacity, your endurance, your commitment, and certainly, your vision to see this thing through. And it's a heartwarming story to hear that the people, pulled you back. It wasn't the industry. It wasn't some rich guy dangling a check in front of you. And hopefully that's an inspiration to others that are following their musical muse and are unreliant on any kind of trends or shortcuts, because we know there are no shortcuts. Robert, we congratulate you. We wish you the best of luck with DarkParade, and congratulate you on an amazing catalog. And thank you very much from our homeland of Southern California here. We appreciate all you've done.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me today. And I urge you and anyone else that can come out and see the band. I think it will be, wherever you come from, I think the trip will be worthwhile.